What's going on? Thor Dykow here. It's This Week on Blu-ray, DVD, and on demand. We'll start with a fantasy action adventure courtesy of Guy Ritchie. Yes, you guessed it. Arthur, Legend of the Sword. That would be King Arthur as well. And Sons of Anarchy star Charlie Hunnam front and center here in the lead role. And this is the stylish blend of all the Guy Ritchie tricks in his bag, bringing you the medieval classic tale of King Arthur. This also stars Jude Law as the villain, Jaimin Hansu, Aidan Gillen of HBO's Game of Thrones fame, and Eric Bana, of course. Now, this is sort of a retelling of the classic King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and the Sword and the Stone, all that epic stuff. And it sort of looks at it from the perspective of Arthur as a young lad from the mean streets who has to sort of come to grips with the fact that he's got this legacy to live up to, and he's got to take down his ruthless and villainous uncle. So I know what you're thinking. Guy Ritchie back with more things, but it's overall a pretty humorless affair despite some injection of a couple of jokes. It does have the stylistic fight scenes, a lot of the CGI, and some compelling performances. It's basically a good popcorn flick. Other than that, it's kind of forgettable, but there are some great deleted scenes and some extras on the Blu-ray as well, including interviews with the filmmakers, new original shorts, featurettes, and as I mentioned, deleted scenes there as well. Wasn't my favorite of the fantasy movies in the last little while, but some good scenery chewing there, courtesy of Hunnam and Jude Law. Let's talk comedy for our next couple, and this was a bit of a misfire, I have to say. Snatched, starring Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn, and they were touting this one as the return of Goldie Hawn after a 15-year absence, and there was a lot of anticipation about her teaming up with Amy Schumer. Unfortunately, this one was kind of bland and really relied on some gross-out gags that didn't go anywhere. So basically, Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer play a mother-daughter duo respectively, and they get more than they bargained for after Amy Schumer's boyfriend dumps her. You saw it there in that scene on the eve of an exotic vacation. So she says, "Hey mom, do you want to go with me?" They take a trip to paradise, but it takes an unexpected turn when they realize that they've been kidnapped and they have to escape this outrageous adventure. Have a couple of bright spots, courtesy of a couple of interesting cameos, particularly from Christopher Maloney, who had a great role in this one, but it wasn't very fleshed out. And you know, they tried their best. I thought Goldie Hawn still had some great comedic chops, but it wasn't that well written, and at the end of the day, it was just sort of a generic kidnap car chase movie with some comedy sprinkled in, but it didn't really go anywhere. The story was very generic, and these two had great chemistry together. It's unfortunate, though, they didn't have a better script to work with, so this one was a pass for me. Let's move along to another comedy, and this is Going in Style, and talk about some titans. You've got Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, and Alan Arkin all front and center here. They star as lifelong buddies who decide to buck retirement and step off the straight and narrow for the first time in their lives. When their pension funds basically get eaten up by this corporation and big bank, they take it upon themselves to make a daring bid to knock over the very bank that swindled their savings. This was actually directed by Zach Braff of Scrubs fame, and also stars Anne Margaret, Joey King, John Ortiz, and the always delightful Peter Serafinowicz. And this did have some bright spots. I really enjoyed this part, actually, where they're all watching The Bachelor. It's kind of geriatric laughs, a lot like Grumpy Old Men and those kind of movies, but it is safe humor. It's very clean. I like that they didn't go the gross-out gag route. And yeah, even though the story is quite pedestrian and plays out predictably, it is nice to see these classic icons sharing the screen together in a buddy flick sort of comedy. And yeah, it may have a couple of misfires, but it was worth a watch. Might be perfect for some small screen viewing. All right, that's it for the movies. Now let's talk television, and this was a mini-series sort of event for HBO, Big Little Lies, and they're actually still trying to see if there will be a second season. It's a murder mystery set in Monterey, California, based on the best-selling book, and stars some of the biggest names in show business. Academy Award winner Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, and Shailene Woodley, to name a few. It's got 7 episodes, plus the bonus features include 6 fascinating inside the episode featurettes and an extended About Big Lies piece featuring never-before-seen cast interviews and behind-the-scenes footage. This is a gripping show from David E. Kelly, the man behind such shows as Picket Fences, The Practice, and Ellie McBeal. Also stars Alexander Skarsgård, Laura Dern, Adam Scott, and Zoe Kravitz. It's basically the unraveling of some relationships between 3 mothers as they navigate the trials and tribulations of all these events happening in their Monterey, California community. And it centers around a murder mystery that is revealed by the end. It is gripping, riveting stuff. Check it out now, HBO's Big Little Lies. Hopefully it gets renewed for a second season. We'll leave it there, people. I am Thor Dykow. You can catch me on Twitter, on Instagram, @ThorDykow is the handle. And we'll see you next week here on BreakfastTelevision.ca.